You're listening to The Blunt Truth. Unscripted, uncensored, unwoke. Get ready to challenge everything.
What's up? Welcome to episode 17 of the Blunt Truth podcast. Here with the man himself, Dougie Moore.
What up, everyone? I missed y'all. How y'all been?
He did not miss you. He actually told me right before we started recording. He said, Steven,
Fuck
don't
all
tell
them.
This is
Fuck
the
all
blunt.
them motherfuckers.
The truth. That's right. That's right, bro. You know the truth was going to win. You got ahead of it and just told the truth. I appreciate that. Let's move on.
Yeah.
The topic is ghosts, paranormal, spooky sightings, weird incidents with the other side. And I have a bunch. You have a bunch. I guess we're going to trade stories back and forth. Maybe the listeners can drop us an iTunes review or a Spotify or an Apple podcast review, because we are number 6 out of all the podcasts. When you Google Blood Truth Podcast, we need to be number 1, not number 6.
Number 1, bitches. Let's do it.
That's right. No one else is delivering this raw, this consistent, this authentic. We deliver at a loss. We don't sell anything. We actually lose money every single episode so that we can just tell the truth. So, ghosts, paranormal. I'll share my thoughts in depth. Tell us a story. Let's just dive in.
All right. Well, for all the listeners out there, they're probably like, oh, yeah, ghosts, whatever. And that's exactly how I was. Okay. You could not even tell me that ghosts were real, because I thought it was just like, y'all are crazy. It could be explained scientifically, right? That ended until when I was like around 21 and I moved into this apartment in a couple towns where I'm at now, a couple towns over. And man, I never believed in ghosts until I lived in that place. Like when we first moved in there, we would just see little things where we just thought, it would be, coincidental. And then it wasn't until like real crazy shit started happening. Like one time we were all in the kitchen, me and my roommate and his girlfriend, and we were all just chilling. And we were just talking, and we all looked at the same chip bowl, and it got blown off the counter. And we're like, we all looked at each other. Did you see that? And then another one was like, we were hearing all these other things going on in my room. I was hearing my name being called from the closet in a little kid voice. He was like whispering. He was like, "Doc," and I was like, it got to the point where by the time we moved out a year later, that like I was sleeping with my light on. And with all these things going on, right, I thought it was just my head, right? I was like, maybe I'm going crazy. So I had my boy Ralph come over, and I was like, yo, he don't believe in that shit either, right? So I was like, I told him, I was like, bro, my place is haunted. He's like, yeah, right. So I was like, come over tonight at 8:00 when the sun's going down. Just come over. He's like, all right. So he comes over, and we're in the living room, and we're just chilling. And all of a sudden, he's just like mocking him. He's just like, where are these stupid ghosts at? Y'all, you're fucking crazy, Doug. And I turned off all the lights, and I was like, if y'all are here, make yourself present. Like, I keep seeing so much y'all, like, just make yourself present. So he just starts talking shit, cracking up, right? 2 minutes go by. And then as he's talking shit, laughing, we hear something in the kitchen. Blam! And we're like, what the fuck? So we go in the kitchen, which is from the living room to the kitchen, and we're looking, and everything is on the floor, like pots, pans, like forks, chips, all of the things. It didn't fall off the counter. That shit flew off again, right? So as we're in the living room, just looking at it, my roommate comes home from work, and he goes in his room, and he starts screaming like a little girl. So we're like turning around. We're like, what's wrong, Stat? He's, yo, look at this. And he shows us his watch, and his watch was a centrifugal watch. Like it has no battery. It gets charged the more you wear it. You know what I mean? The hands on his watch were going backwards, counterclockwise, fast as fuck. And we're like, what the fuck? He's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I didn't do anything. I was just trying to show Ralphie what the fuck we've been going through. You know what I mean? And then one more from that, just this one quick, is Ralphie's girlfriend at the time. She didn't believe, right? So I had her come over, and then she sat on the living room, the couch, right? And it was around the same time, 8:39. And I'm in the studio, which is behind the living room. And I'm in there working on a beat or some shit. And 15 minutes go by and she comes into the studio and she's, I need to leave. And I'm like, why? She's, I just want to go. I'm like, why? What happened? She's, I was sitting on the couch and I swear to God, I felt somebody holding my wrist down on the armrest. And it felt like a grip, like grabbing my wrist and holding me down to the armrest, and could not get up. And I finally freaked out and it finally let me go. And I was like, she's like, I need to leave. I was like, dang. So what we did was we were talking, since we were new to the apartment, I was talking to my neighbor from the upstairs, you know what I mean? I was like, so have you been, you know, experiencing some shit in there, you know, paranormal shit? And he's, oh yeah, the kids? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, this place is haunted by 3 kids. My kids play with them all the time. I'm like, your kids be playing with kid ghosts? What the fuck, man? He's like, yeah, man. So what I did was after that, I called Ed and Lorraine Warren. Do you know who that is? Ed and Lorraine Warren. They're like, you've heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them, I think. They have a like a museum place with a bunch of artifacts, don't they?
Yeah, they got
I've
the
seen a
Annabelle doll.
documentary. I've seen a documentary, and they have a couple things very locked away with a number of spiritual means, so that the
Mhm.
very
And
interesting.
they were the ones that did the Amityville. You know what I mean? The Amityville
Right, they were
horrors.
consulted by the producers of Amityville Horror. That's right,
Right.
to make the movie realistic. Correct.
Right. So they're from Connecticut. They're from my state, right?
Wow.
So what I did was I found their number and I called them. And when I called them, it was their nephew that picked up. But then I left a message and I told him like all the stuff that was going on. He said, "Oh, I'll give him your number." Within 2 hours, she called me back. It was Lorraine. She's dead now. And like she called me back, right? And I told her everything that's going on, like all the stories I just told you, a few more that I didn't tell yet. And she's just, out of all the things that you're telling me, you shouldn't be scared. And she's like, it seems like they're just doing it to get a rise out of you. And it seems like they're just a bunch of kids that are just getting a rise out of you. They seems like they're kids. So if they're kids, you should have nothing to worry about. And I'm like, I didn't even tell her about my neighbor, like saying that they were kids. You know what I mean? So I did a little more deep research, and like 100 years ago, a whole fire took out that entire fucking neighborhood, and 3 kids died in that building, bro. And that's how I knew like this paranormal was like real, because how would I know any of that? Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, that's a wild story, man.
Hell yeah. It's some things that you just can't explain, especially like hearing my name coming from the closet. It's just, you can't explain that. You can't explain it, you know?
Yeah, dude. So, my paranormal journey is that the earliest thing I remember is a story my mom told me about her grandpa. And I don't know if it was her mom's dad or her dad's dad. I should probably find out. I feel like it's her dad's dad, but I couldn't tell you. Really couldn't tell you. But she told me how he was sick, he was old, and she was the young granddaughter. And she kind of made a deal with him, like an agreement, where after he died, he was to try and make some kind of contact. He was to try and reach out to her and show her some signs.
Right.
She was kind of a weird kid like me, now that I think about it. That's kind of I had an obsession with Matilda and using my mind for things. Anyway,
Oh yeah, me too, bro.
I bet not having
I
limbs,
still
man.
do. I still do. I'm like, maybe I could move that remote.
We should do an episode on that.
A
Anyway,
telepathy.
so the grandpa passes, my mom's grandpa, and she slept in the room at the end of the hallway in grandma's house. It was almost not an attic, but it had that slanted roof, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
And she told me like very shortly after she was in bed one night and the lights were just flickering on and off. And she was just like, holy shit, that's probably grandpa.
Right.
And I think because she was so young that it really stuck with her and she was a believer. And I became an atheist when she passed away. She got sick when I was 4, passed when I was 8. By age 11, I was an atheist. God's not real. People just made this up. People just believe in
Yeah.
it. It's mind control. And then we moved after she passed to this exact house. I'm in this basement. And I would play with my sister and my neighbor, who was 1 year younger than me. He was 8, I was 9. Sister was 6. We'd play in this basement. And intuitively, somatically, it felt so haunted. But I was so cynical as a child that I would exaggerate and lie to my neighbor and my sister about the spirits here and the ghosts here. But I think I was really intuitively channeling something, but it just kind of became like I was lying because nobody really, as we grew older, you know what I mean? We didn't really believe in that stuff. So, didn't have too many weird experiences though. And so, just fast forward to real recently, I spoke to my mom out loud for the first time in 2019. And I believe that speaking out loud, vocalizing vibration, acoustic vibration, especially fueled by heart energy, is literally opens a portal or a channel to the other side. And when you speak out loud, ghosts, loved ones on the other side, poltergeists can hear you. And
Well, I think sound can penetrate other dimensions, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like when you pray, I like to pray out loud because when you pray in your head, it's just staying inside. The action is you speaking it out loud. You know what I mean? So you have to think about your prayer, right? And then you want to say it out loud because you know it's gonna travel somewhere, you know?
yeah, my advice would be pray out loud away from electronics if it's something sacred and near and dear to your heart, because, you know, the NSA, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Defense, anyone who works for these agencies can very easily listen to your prayers and probably ask AI, hey, send me all of Stephen's prayers the past 24 hours and summarize them, you know, so if you believe that could interfere with actual manifestation and produce emotional frequencies which would interact with you strongly and consistently outputting the manifestation frequencies, that I like to keep certain things secret. And so anyway, I believe today that I walk with my mom and my cat, my soul cat Diablo, aka Bobby, near and dear to my heart. Bless his heart. Amazing, beautiful soul cat. My only real regret in life is not taking him with me when I traveled. And he is on the other side, just like my mom. And I believe they are in my day-to-day life. And I believe before there was a great flood and the central system took over, that it was normal to walk with people on the other side. It was normal to understand these mechanics. It was normal to not only talk to your loved ones who are in more spiritual dimensions, as you mentioned, it's different dimensions on the other side, not just one. The ghosts and the poltergeists are really still in their electromagnetic bodies. They're not even fully actualized souls. They actually still have some ego and some time constraints as ghosts if they're gripping your hands and they're doing these kind of things. And that comes from material attachment. And you think this material obsession and even Satanism is going to produce a lot of ghosts because people are so attached to the material world.
Right.
Anyway, so also, you know, if you believe that, as I believe, a soul can live through many lifetimes as many different animals and people and maybe even plants, then my mom and my soul cat of 16 years might not even be a human or a cat. It could just be these great spirits on the other side who can produce wisdom and insight and guidance as a real archangel or guardian angel or, you know, spirit guardian, spirit guide might. So
Mhm.
that's kind of some of my thoughts. You said you got more stories or
Yeah, like I definitely see like my brother that just recently passed. I could see a lot of signs of him trying to get my attention. And it's one of those things where it's like it's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. And if you know a lot of seeing is believing people, try to stay away from them because they'll never get it. You have to believe in order to see, you know. So
and
I
I'll
wouldn't even
say
keep.
if you can have a little bit of belief, because it's not black and white, if you can believe 1%, 2%, God or the universe will earn the rest of your belief. So it's not just like you have to be a little head in the clouds lunatic, but you do have to be able to exercise that faith muscle a little bit and entertain it a little bit to start really analyzing it properly with an open mind.
Faith is much. There's a definite must though, because if you doubt, then why should what you're believing in, you know what I mean? Why should he even come through for you? You have to have an undoubtable, I know this is going to be okay. I know it's going to happen because I put the power into the all, not my decisions. It's, you know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going back to my brother. I'm not even trying to see signs, and I could just see that my brother is trying to come through and just show me that like he's around because cool little story. I popped one of my own genetics. It's called second honeymoon. And I crossed it by myself, right? I took the male and the female and I made seeds and then I took a bunch of the seeds and then I popped a bunch of them. When you take a bunch of seeds and you pop them of the same strain, it's called pheno hunting. Okay. So what I did was I pheno hunted 10 seeds. I was like, all right, let's pop 10 seeds and see which one's the best one. Right. So we popped 10 seeds and 5 of them ended up being female, which means 5 of them are male. So those are out. So the ones that were available that I wanted to keep was number 2 and number 6. And I didn't really realize it until a couple, months go by as I'm growing it. I'm like, well, 2 and 6. My brother died on the 26th and my brother was born on the 26th. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So not only that, but the 2 that I wanted to pick, I was always like, I wanted number 6 because that's my number because I was born September 6th, I was always rooting for 6 to be the one that I wanted to keep. 2 is the one. Like, and it's like Keem, my brother just said, nah, this one's it. I don't care what you want. 2 is going to be it. But 2 and 6 was like the 2 that I wanted to keep, which were female, which is kind of crazy odds too, because for them to be both female is kind of, I barely get females. The more majority of them are male. And for that to pop through, and then 2 is the one that I'm keeping. I don't know. It's just, I see him popping up a bunch, the numbers 26 come up a lot. And I could tell he's just trying to reach through and say that he's still with me and he's still watching over. He's still probably in purgatory or somewhere wherever he is, but he's still watching.
Purgatory. That's one way of saying it. There are multiple between lives areas and a whole other side to talk about. And I just want to speak to the people that might be listening saying, hey, it's easy to pick a number and start seeing it. You just train yourself to look at it. Listen,
I wasn't even looking for it though. That's the thing.
True.
I wasn't looking for it at all.
Right. Some other people might, or that's what skeptics might say regardless, because they're skeptical. Now, I would suggest that it's got to be your subconscious mind that's interfacing with the other side, right? It can't be your conscious controlled prefrontal cortex.
Right.
I just said cortex. That sounds like
corn
technology. That's our sponsor.
That's the new weed strain, cortex.
Viral advertising.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? God damn, I was promised myself I wouldn't lose my train of thought.
Sorry, you're the one who said it.
Man, I meant, okay, what was I talking about though? Fuck. What is corn? GMO? What?
It's like GMO. Cortex.
That was all the tangent. That was wrong.
Keep this part. Keep it.
Okay. But
the world must know about the cortex of life.
You said cortex. You said cortext. And you said corntech.
Damn right.
It's not even a consistent joke. This goes for people that might see numbers on a clock, on their computer screen, billboards, whatever. Your control mind can manufacture that, okay, if it really wants to, but you'll notice it if you have enough self-awareness. And also it can be manufactured by a variety of military technology. We live in a fascist high-tech police state where the controllers have stolen the high technology, lied about it, and given us the low tech. The point is, what can also happen is your subconscious mind is your higher self, right? Like the seat of your soul can be considered the subconscious mind. So when you randomly glance at a number for no reason, when you all of a sudden take out your phone and look at the time for no reason, that's not your conscious mind. You're not like, I want to hit 1111.
No, that's subconscious there.
Right. And so if Akeem wants to get through to you, he can only talk to you through the
subconscious mind.
Right. He can't be like, hey, Dougie, it's me. That's just against the laws of free will and a whole bunch of other stuff.
And it's like I said, I wasn't looking for it at all. Like, not one bit. But it was like until like midway through the harvest where I'm like, 2 and 6. Like,
man, I had a dream one time because I was struggling with this. I kept seeing 333 and I was so paranoid. Am I being mind controlled? Am I making this up? Am I just tripping myself out? So I ended up having a dream, and I very rarely remember. I very rarely remember my dreams. So this was very noteworthy, and the dream was not too relevant. It was like a scene from a restaurant, and then some things happened with some people, and then that escalated outside the restaurant, and it resolved peacefully, and I woke up a little bit scared. But I noticed after the third or fourth time, actually, now that I think about this, probably my third time reviewing the dream, when I noticed the number 3 was the whole dream. It was like the menu was like the third page and the third item, and it was 3 people. Literally, the whole dream had the number
Mhm.
3 encoded constantly. And when I woke up, the meaning of the story was that you are divinely protected. That's why it resolved peacefully. God was real, Creator was real, and the providence and His grace and His safety and security is real and always
Mhm.
present if you are an aligned soul. And all of a sudden, I realized all of these 3s I'm seeing is something, some force, intelligent force beyond my comprehension and beyond any man's technology, trying to show me that my higher self, at least, is reassuring me through my subconscious, you are protected, bro. Like, what you're doing is safe, you know? And that was a big pivotal moment, I think, in my understanding of numerology and angel numbers and just my journey. So, yeah.
Well, we each have, a guardian angel watching us, or like, while following us all around, all at all times. We might even have 2 or 3. You know what I mean? And a lot of people they don't understand like what they don't see. But it's like, if me being 40 years old is still alive and perfect health, like, something's watching over me, bro. You know what I mean? It's undeniable. And it's like now, like, I'm starting to get into the, opening the mind and starting to figure out the energies. And the last couple of months, every time I wake up, I say, "Thank you for the day." With me and Raffle, we say our morning prayer. So it's simple. It's thank you for the day and please protect us throughout the day. That's it. And you know what I'm gonna do? I used to have this raffle fund where it was like I had money just in case something had happened to raffle, that I'd have the money to do it. I'm just gonna save that and use it for something else, because that I have faith nothing's gonna happen to him. You know what I mean? Like, I have faith. I have that much faith that he's so protected that I don't need that fund, because that fund was given to me for me, and what I'm gonna do is just gonna take care of him the way I've been doing, and I feel like as long as I'm grateful and I thank, the all and for the protection, and I feel like I'll be good. I feel like having the fun there is precursoring something bad to happen, because it's testing the faith. I can't, how can I have full faith in something when I have a fund just in case that goes bad? No, there's no fund. You know what? He's going to be fine, you know?
I think that's a beautiful place to be, that level of faith. And I think in the household and the family, especially, having that level of faith together and for each other is how we are meant to be and meant to thrive. And it's interesting
Right.
you say that, because my mind goes to the first financial advice all the mainstream financial advisors say, which are basically working for the Roman Catholic Church, most mainstream financial advisors. And they say, save up an emergency fund. That's literally the first advice. Emergency fund, 6 months. And I've never done it. I just always go straight to investing. Why not just invest that? What the fuck?
Right.
What?
Right.
Just assume I'm gonna get fucking crippled for 6 months or something? Like,
Right, right. And then it happens somehow before the payment comes in. You know what I mean? Like, you're setting yourself up because if I don't have full faith in what I'm saying, then why am I have a fund on the side? That'd be a hypocrite. If I have full faith in that God's going to protect me and my dog, then I don't need a fund on the side, because it's going to be okay, you know?
I love that, man. That's so beautiful. Thank you, dude. And my dog's healing. She's doing so good, thank God. She's over the worst of it. She's been real relaxed, healing up her shoulder, switching
Mhm.
sides, getting relaxed, still eating, drinking, pottying. So, just can't put
I
weight
just
on it, huh?
I just feel like God will provide. You know what I mean? If something bad happens, if you have nothing, God will provide. God will figure out a way for it
Every
to happen.
time. And you mentioned still being around, and it's the same idea. There's so many ways to frame that. One way is, have you ever had less than you needed? No, because if you ever had less than you needed, you wouldn't be here. So can't you
And God,
operate with some level of faith moving forwards
right.
then?
And also, God doesn't give you things that you can't handle. God knows how much you can handle. You know what I mean? So when you say I can't handle this, you can. You just got to figure it out, and you have to have faith that everything's going to go out and be great and just do your best. That's it. That's all you can do. You know what I mean? And you have to legitimately try. But it's all love, it's all love. Like it's like the more you love and the more you're grateful, the more your life starts to turn out better. And I'm starting to learn that with my brother going because I'm starting to be like more grateful. I don't know. I catch myself thinking about, oh, Keen would know that because me and him been through so much. You know what I mean? That he has so many memories that nobody else has except for me. But now it's like I used to dwell on it, but not dwell. But now I'm like, I appreciate those memories now.
Yeah, man. Like the grief is a testament to the love, and every experience, every memory is encoded forever in the universe, the Akashic record, as they say. And
hmm The halls of Amenti.
it's, oh, yeah. It's also easier to have that attitude of gratitude when you step out of that death cult way of thinking and you do recognize that your family and people you love are eternal souls and you get to walk with them as close as you want, whether they're on the other side or here. And sometimes my mom passed on, and I feel looking back that I needed her more from the other side for what I was going to go through, my journey of calling people out and truth speaking recklessly and all these things, that level of maybe she's an extra angel, as you mentioned, right? And beyond that, you can continue the relationship on a day-to-day level. When I do my nightly prayers and I light a candle back there by the wood stove and I walk in a circle with tuning forks and I pray out loud, sometimes I'll pray with my cat, my mom, involve them and spend time with them. And part of nighttime, the reason we all have dead karmic sleep at night, as you mentioned, the 8 p.m. thing, is because the moon magnetically charges the air, which is another thing that makes dimensions more in and out, frequent the veil less thin, the veil thinner. So sorry. So like at nighttime, you can interface more readily. You can feel the presence of loved ones on the other side, whether they might be a ghost in some between area or whether they might be fully on the other side that's still here, right here.
Right.
So, yeah, man.
Yep. That's crazy though. Cause like I said, like I was never a believer, but until I moved into that apartment, you want to know what's crazy too? Living in a very haunted apartment for a whole year, you gain a sixth sense. I'm not just joking. Like I can literally walk into a place and know if it's haunted or not. Because it feels like when you're in a place with an unrest energy, it feels like someone's looking at you like this, like 2 feet away from you.
All right, you could.
And that's like the only way I can actually explain it. But after living there for a while and you get used to that energy, it stays with you. Like you start to know, like, all right, there's a perfect example. There's a place in this building. There's a huge fucking apartment building, right? There's a place in this building, in this area where I get that somebody died there. Somebody definitely died there. Because I don't get that anywhere else in the building, but I go into this one area in the building and I'm like, yeah, sun's up. But it's crazy though, because you get that, I have that extra sense where I can know like sun's off about there ever since I lived there.
I love that notion of having these spiritual experiences, having these ghost encounters, these paranormal experiences as almost like rituals. It's Heavenly Father, it's the universe molding you and preparing you and giving you these experiences that you can transmute into wisdom and alchemy if you have that intention and that awareness. So yeah, man, like I never thought about that, but
And it makes it so you're not scared of it. You know what I mean? I've seen so much shit because of that apartment that like anything else is like, I'm gonna be like, you can't hurt me. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean? You're not gonna get a rise out of me. I know you're here. I can feel you. You know what I mean? Like it don't get by me
absolutely.
anymore. It don't get by me anymore.
Yeah, man, like there's so much propaganda to make us afraid of the dark, to make us afraid of ghosts, to make us afraid of paranormal. And if it can't make us afraid of these ideas, it'll make us resent them or dislike them
Or not believe in them. You know
exactly,
what I mean?
overly
That's even
skeptical.
worse. Because
But
even and it's still there, then it's still there, you know?
Facts. And so these experiences you really want to use to chip away at that fear. Like that's the ultimate goal, is to not be fueled by fear. And even if it's uncertain, it can still be loving excitement, uncertainty. It doesn't have to be fearful uncertainty. So
Right. Like sometimes I'll get startled, but I'm not like scared. You know what I mean? Once you get startled and then all right, and you're not scared anymore. But I mean, you're gonna get startled. My dog startles me sometimes. I'll be hearing it pitch black, and all of a sudden he'll drop his toy on the wooden floor, and it makes a big ass sound. Boom. And I'm like, that startled me. I'm not scared, but it startled me, you know. But that's the same thing how I feel with the paranormal. Sometimes it'll startle me, but it's not going to get that fear out of me because I've lived with it for like over a year. And I'm like, nope, you can't hurt me. I'm protected anyway. Like I'm
yes, sir.
protected. I bet you my aura is bright as fuck to them. You know
Yes,
what I
sir.
mean?
Divine protection. And that's what I was going to say. You got to be a spiritual warrior. One of my big takeaways from the different new age ideologies I floated through after leaving atheism was that you got to be able to say, get the fuck out of my field. There are consequences for what I'm saying. They are real. They are spiritual. I am invoking them by virtue of these words. And that works for inner parasites. That works for entities in your field. That works for just purification of the inner and outer temples, man.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man. So that's pretty much it. Any last words? We'll probably drop some links to your cannabis coaching.
You can check out dougsnugs.org, cannabis coaching. I got merch on there. You can buy like a mug with cool stuff on it. I'm gonna be working on a mug with my dog's face on it. So it'll be Doug's Nugs Pugs Mug Mugs.
Nugs, nugs.
Doug's Nugs Pugs Mug. Because it's his face, because it's
Got
a
it.
mug. Mug Mugs.
I thought
So
you
it's
misspoke.
Doug's Nugs Pugs Mugs. Yeah.
Doug's
That's
Nugs, Pugs,
awesome.
Mug Mugs. It's just
Yeah.
Doug's Nugs, Pugs, Mug Mugs.
But also, I'll be on here a bunch of times. You know what I mean? I love doing this with you. You know, and this is great. And
Yeah, man.
you'll see my face more.
Yeah, dude. Look, dude, your clips are some of our highest performing clips on YouTube. Like, people know you, people love you. We got to keep it that way. You're going to be a permanent part of the show here. It's just mixing it up because, like, honestly, we're both white dudes. And so I just feel I like to have other perspectives. You know what I'm saying? It's like we make that the official podcast outro. That's not the outro, but this is.
Thanks for tuning in to The Blunt Truth with Stephen and Dougie. Enjoy the conversation. Join us every Wednesday for more unfiltered discussions. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Your support keeps the truth coming. Elevate your journey. Connect with us on social media at blunttruthpodcast.com. Until next time, be kind, keep growing, and remember, knowledge is infinite.